Welcome to episode 13 of the Leeds Rhinos podcast. I'm Rob Oates, the commercial director here at Leeds Rhinos, and today we've got a real special guest making his debut on the podcast, and he's looking forward to it too. It's Scott Grix, our assistant coach. Nice to see you, Scott.
Yeah, happy to be here. I was trying to stay out of the way of this as long as I could, so I'm pleased to spend a bit of time with you, Rob.
You like to be in the background, I know that, but what a week to pick. You've picked the best week because it's been a great week for the club, hasn't it? We're going to touch on before the Wigan game and what a night that was, but the scholarship and the academy had a great week too, didn't they? The scholarship beat Hull and academy beat Wigan for the first time in 3 years, so it's been a great week for the club.
Yeah, strong showings from all grades this week, and that obviously picked up throughout the week with the scholars starting off, so really pleased for them. A little mix there of first years and second years too, so a nice outing for them. And then, yeah, Chefs to get that academy game out of the way with the Wigan this week. Pretty dominant, I thought, when we were watching that, pretty dominant with the kids that we've got in there. We've got, both teams there showing that what we've got in the years to come for this club. And then topped it all off with us at the end, so big week for the club, I thought, yeah.
Yeah, no, fantastic, wasn't it? And just on that academy win, some of those boys, or a lot of them boys, are training with the first team, aren't they? So they're getting a look at the pathway through, aren't they?
Yeah, for sure. I think they've helped prepare us really well, especially this last few weeks. At times they'll probably feel like they're getting belted around off us a little bit, but it's great reps for them, and the higher quality a team that we have going against us in training, which is that crew, or half of that crew at least. They're prepping us the best we can do, so big rap for them this week, how they helped us prepare for the Wigan game too, so double barrel.
Yeah, and Prez Cassell and Joe Diskin outstanding, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. Prez is a bit of a specimen, isn't he? And, he's not... They're getting the reps in and getting belted around and being around the first team helps him obviously dominate those academy games, and that's what we're expecting from him, so...
Good stuff. And then obviously Saturday came. The rain came, didn't it? Jesus, I don't know.
Yeah, we got lucky, didn't we? I bobbed my head out once and I pulled my cap out of my bag. I thought I better cover that up, and we obviously seen a couple of scenes there from the Cast game, but we got lucky in the end.
Yeah, just about dried up, didn't it? But what a night, wasn't it? A special night for the club. Some people have said that, since the stadium redevelopment finished back in 2019, it's been one of the great nights since then. And I'd agree with that. It was special when it's 16,000 here. The place was bouncing, and what a performance from the boys.
Yeah, I think Ollie mentioned it post-game about his 500th and said it wasn't a big game because it was his 500th. It was a big game because we're playing Wigan, and yeah. I think that's kind of how we thought for the week. It was just Wigan at Headingley. We want to put on the performance that the two teams usually give. So pleased for Ollie too, coming out with a milestone win. Something that we discussed together, me and him, during the week. Not just his own, but he's been involved in other people's, and they're rubbish when you lose. You want your milestone wins to have a bit of memory about them. You don't want to frame that 500 shirt after a loss. It'd be a bit grim. So, yeah, glad that we got through that one.
And you going into that game, Scott, you've seen and you're up close and personal with it all. Do you know that these performances are coming? Whilst the previous two were disappointing for the majority of it, there were some glimpses that we can be a team, weren't there?
Yeah, I dare say, Catalan, obviously we were a little bit further away than what we were at Saints, but I do feel that we've played very similar to last night and not won. Obviously you go back to a week ago now, and in that game it ended up probably being a 7 or 8 minute spiral where it just got away from us a little bit. But in terms of what we're chasing for the game, in terms of numbers and the plan, and we've kind of been nailing it all. We just haven't come out on top. So pleased for the boys that they could get a bit of confidence from that at the weekend, because we came out on top of a tough one.
Yeah, and a special mention, and I think Brad mentioned it in his post game stuff, that Keenan, Cooper, and Mikolai early were fantastic on Saturday, were they?
Yeah, we've played back to back now 2 super physical packs. So for them to back up and go head to head with them and even come out on top of it, especially with the win there, really big rap to them. The way that they've been turning up, because obviously physicality is a big part of our game model, and Brad pushes that obviously with them boys, and if they don't lead that, We don't get a chance to lead it anywhere else. So not only that, their off the ball stuff's been really good. Obviously, take care of a little bit of the back five stuff there, and the effort that they're putting in to really put our back five in a position to not bring the ball off our try line, really helping. So they complement each other really well. But yeah, big raps for us middles this last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and the back row, the workaholics, James McDonald and Bentos. I think Bentos set the tone actually. The first 20 minutes when he was scrambling back, he got back and patted that pass back from Luke Thompson, didn't he? And then scrambled on the floor.
Yeah, huge
it's
play.
Just effort,
Yeah.
the effort that took just for him. We were exhausted after it, but makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, cleans a lot of stuff up for us. Does James? He's especially that epitomised what he's about for that game. He's got the chase back. He's got the work from marker. He's got involved to hit him with the error, scoops it up, and then if you go back and have a look at it, he puts a little goose step in as well. So he tied it up.
And then he dives.
He tied up five things in one. So that ain't a one-off. That he's coming up with them pretty regular for us. So again, just another one that Gano came off the bench there and pushes Bentos into the middle and gives us a bit of a cleaned up man there with his engine that he's got going.
Yeah, fantastic. And you mentioned Ryan. He would be the first to say that it wasn't about him. Yeah. It was a lot, wasn't it? It was lovely that he gets the win, but he's a special bloke and a special player, isn't he?
Yeah, he's highly respected. And, I think BA might have mentioned this during the week, but obviously I've seen him from afar over my time as well. But the level that he's at during the week to do the things that he does on a game day, to continually do it for this age, is great for everyone else underneath him to see. And like you were seeing a lot of montages of him during the week, didn't we? And not only the tries that he comes up in with the big games, the carries, the effort off the ball stuff, I think is what I've noticed a bit more now that I'm close up with Ollie. I probably didn't recognise it as much without. But yeah, good for him to get the win on that. And then he came up with something that he's never done before. And got an assist with the Falcon at the end there, so good on him.
It's a great header, wasn't it? Like I think John Wilkins said, there's a few things that have to go right to hit a rugby ball with a square head like all he's got for it to bounce perfectly in.
Yeah.
Tell you what, it was a good pick up by Jack and all because it didn't bounce. It bounced, but it kind of almost kept loading.
If he didn't misjudge the kick, we might not score because he's not missing many of them kicks either. So
yeah. Well, it's come from a poor pass on it to start with.
So. Yeah, and then Cine ended up with another try on the back of it. Great night for Ollie. You mentioned it there. I've already mentioned it. He hated every minute of the build up and the post bit, but he knows that he were right thing to do for a big game.
In the corporate bit after, he said, "Well, his dad set me up for countless tries." So he says it was nice to set up Jack for that one. So that was a nice touch. And on game day, Scott, what's your role? I know you're running messages on. Where are the messages coming from? Who's talking to you in the headset? And what's the generally stuff that's been said?
So yellow shirt. We've got depending on how the game goes, you might get a bunch of opportunities to get out there. Sometimes you get very limited. I've got Langers in my ear. He's obviously sitting with Brad there, so we have our game plan that I'll still keep in my head. I'll still see things that I'm seeing on the sideline that maybe they're not. We're conversing. We've got Chev in a different position in the stand there, looking at some stuff from behind for us. So we'll all kind of chat as the game goes on, and then the messages come from them guys for me to get out there whenever I can, really. The trickiest bit is when you go 7 or 8. We had a block there at the start of the game where it went set for a while, and I've probably got a couple of reminders coming from the other coaches there, and it's about then trying to make sure I get it in the right amount of time and to the right people. So it gets a bit tricky at times, but generally once you address the team, you're just picking off little bits here and there, obviously, and then it gets a bit hectic for them boys on the sideline, and we're getting a bit emotional because the game's going up and down, and just try to do my best, especially even if everyone else is getting a bit heightened with the game. Just got to be nice and clear with my comms when I get out there so that they're looking for what we're doing next. So it's not so much what you're fixing at the time, but this is where we're going. So
yeah, and I guess like because the players are exhausted, it has got to be so clear and concise, hasn't it? What was the message? Can you remember what was said when we went 10-6 down? Then when you run on then and we're behind the sticks, Bevan French scores, kicks the goal, it's 10-6. What's the message to the boys?
Yeah,
at that
interesting.
point?
I thought we learned a really big lesson in that point, because it's only a week ago that we were in the exact same spot. Now that turned into the 7 or 8 minute spiral that we spoke about before, and it's just to commit to the next 2 sets for us. We were obviously kicking back off to them, deal with that set, deal with the kick, get to the end of our set, you're kind of back in the rhythm. If you go too gung-ho on that next set, or you don't concentrate for a little bit, that's where your spiral starts. So I think the chat was mainly about, this is the plan, your next job is this. And to be honest, sometimes when you get there and, Ash might be addressing them or somebody might be mentioning a point, they know what the crack is. You're just telling them reminders, really, unless they're missing something really big. Yeah. We're just reminding them and make sure that they're on the right track.
And obviously it was tense in the stadium. How were you, 4 minutes in, 4 minutes to go? We've got in repeat sets on our line. How are you feeling at that point?
Well, you're trying, obviously. You can feel it, and obviously Langers is going off about something in my ear about a message that he wants for some defence stuff, and it's really hard at that point because everything else is going on. Their bench is going off a little bit. You can see the place is about to erupt because we're getting a strong finish, and again, just got to be nice and clear with my comms to get on there. I'm watching it. I'm watching the game as from our plans point of view, and maybe where bits we can clean up. So I don't tend to get in. I don't know. It's weird. You can feel what's happening, but you don't really get. You're not like a fan. You can't. You're not going up and down, and so
that'd be no good.
Yeah, it's tricky. Yeah, it's tricky at times, but I love it. I like being. Obviously, the first year I was here, I was sat kind of in the stand there with Rowan for the first year, which was really good for my development, seeing it from a different point of view, but having at that point not long been retired too. Yeah, I like to see some eyeballs and get in the mix and that sort of stuff. So love being out there, and if it can contribute in different ways, gives a couple of bum taps here and there and rev somebody up, or even a bit of a spray here and there, it all helps.
Yeah. And under Brad, you're helping with our attack. Langers is helping with the defence, but you're a close-knit trio, aren't you? So everyone's contributing, aren't they?
Yeah. Obviously, Brad's got a pretty clear game model for us to base all our stuff around, and majority of the attack and how we want to attack is through that, and so I'm kind of picking up a bit of detail on the back of it, and then the other side of it is for us, for our back three there. Me playing in that spot for a long while, just having a different look at it, or especially a lot of reps at it. So we've got 2 different people there in the back three at the minute. We've got a Riley Lund that's seeing new pitches every week because he's just getting them reps under his belt, and then you've got, so you try and teach a little bit of that, and then you've got Ollie that's seen it all, and you're just kind of giving reminders and letting him do his thing. So yeah, in terms of, he's pretty collaborative. Obviously our last plays, which we go through with the spine, link into Langers' D bits, but overall we're under the same umbrella of our game model and game plan. So it's going all right at the minute. I think it's obviously been a bit scratchy on occasions with the attack, but we're getting there. Lockie back in the mix there. Yep. Not been back for us too long. We've had a couple of different spine combos, which they're all, I think we've had 5 adding in their own way. So
yeah, that makes it.
We're getting there.
That makes it difficult for you guys, like trying to plot how we play, because they're dictating which side, which way we go, aren't they? The spine, and it's changing every week, and it has done.
Yeah, and there might be occasions in the future where it does too. And I think the beauty of it is that it's round 5. We're not expected to be at our unbelievable best, because where do we go from there? We want to be at a level where we're good enough and we're asking enough questions to win games, but at the same time, there's still plenty of work in us. So yeah, we're getting there. Pleased with doing. Obviously, go to the next level. We've got big game coming up, as they all are for this week, and then unfortunately now out of the cup gives us a break, so we'll make sure we put everything in this one and then get to tidy some stuff up with a different week next week, because we won't be prepping for a game.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And it is a big week, isn't it? Because we go to Warrington on Friday. Obviously, they won 3 out of 3 over us. We played them at Magic, didn't we, at Ellen Road last year, and won 3 out of 3. It was Brad's first game, Warrington away. So we haven't had much success over the last 12 months, and they had a great win on Friday night. Obviously, we're buoyed by our win, so good challenge.
Yeah, and we'd like to be in that game for the week after, because you essentially would have played sort of 3-4 games back to back there against the best opposition. So another good challenge for us. Didn't get what we wanted at Saints. Stayed in there and came out on top against this one. It'll be no different this week. Yeah, this was the first time we met Brad. We picked him up sort of en route to Warrington when he jumped off the plane and got a good look at us for that first game when he came. And we don't know what we're going to get in terms of team-wise, and that will prep as best we can for us. And yeah, I think, like I just said there, we're with the combos that we've got going on, just keep striving to get a little bit better and make sure our middles are on point like they were this week and see where we get to.
Fresh and ready to go, a big challenge in it, and Sam looks like he's got them on the right track, doesn't he? They got a few bodies back last week, so it will be a big challenge, a big crowd, and it'll be exciting. And in terms of the week, we've got the reserves play St Helens on Thursday night, so it's another opportunity for some of our fringe players to sharpen up. Is that how you see the reserves panning out? They've won 2 out of 2 as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the best thing about it is those academy lads that have been in with us during the week, help us prepare during the week. They've already had some reps with some of our guys, Toby Warrens, that aren't quite making our team, but are in that team. So in terms of system and everything that they're playing, they should be pretty much in sync. So good that we get, them games where it's after your first team game, you get to play everybody that hasn't been at the game, which is great. Now we'll just do the same again this week and I'll make sure everyone, mainly for reps, we want those guys that are playing reserves, we want them to play as best they can in our shapes, and it don't matter about the opposition. You just don't know what you're going to get with that reserve come, depending what's going on with different first teams.
Course,
so
yeah.
Irrelevant, where they'll nail their own jobs and it ties into everything we're doing. So yeah, hopefully those boys that are playing first team with us on Friday get a good run out.
Fantastic. And it just shows you the pathway that's available through us, isn't it, with the scholarship, the academy, the reserves. And we mustn't mention Mark Buttrell and his Bucks team, the Leeds Beckett University, won the Bucks title. They beat Northumbria down in Loughborough last week, which were fantastic. So great to see. And Jamie Peacock, Lewis Peacock played great, and they won that. So that's well done to Mark and the team. Scott, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting. We've got Thursday's Q&A on the podcast, so questions, fire them in. Q&A on Thursday, info@therhinos.co.uk. Feed your questions in. We'll answer every single one of them. Thanks for listening. Scott, go well at Warrington. We'll see the majority behind the sticks. Go the Rhinos. Thank you.